Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about a couple homework problems that were a little tricky on this section. They're definitely getting a little tougher as we get to the end of this section. And we're going to talk about 48. You'll see some answers done out for 39 and 75, and other common questions that I got. But if we look at 48, the thing that I really want you to see, and I can't emphasize this enough, is that you need to understand that this gets multiplied by 1 minus sine of x. And that means that you're multiplying by 1 if you multiply the top and the bottom by that. Now, this one's a little weird because it doesn't seem very clear, because this is actually on the top, not the bottom. In many of the examples, it was on the bottom, right? But I would still, I think, and when I say I think, I literally mean I think, I don't know. I think you should multiply by 1 minus sine here as well. And if you multiply by 1 minus sine here, you might find something better. But maybe not. Let's just see what this does first. So I have cosine of x times the 1 minus sine of x. Over, we did this for a reason. The bottom comes out to 1 minus sine squared. 1 minus sine squared. So I'll just kind of underline it. This whole thing is going to come out to 1 minus sine squared. Now, it's critical that you see 1 minus sine squared. That's not equals. 1 minus sine squared is cosine squared of x. So I'm going to, this is 1 minus sine squared. This is actually cosine squared of x. And actually, what I thought was kind of wrong, because I see that now I could probably do a common denominator fairly easily by just multiplying by cosine, right? So what I thought was not true. I thought I was going to multiply by 1 minus sine over there on top and bottom on the right side, but not true. It's not going to be better. It might work, but it's probably not going to be the best route. So let's go up here. And as we multiply by cosine on the right side, the left side's cosine of x times 1 minus sine of x. Okay, the denominator of that is cosine squared of x. And now to get cosine squared of x here, we had to multiply by a cosine on the top and on the bottom. So that's cosine of x times, I'm going to squish this in here, 1 plus sine of x. Okay. Now that I have a common denominator, everything's over cosine squared of x. Add the tops, keep the bottom. I think I'll distribute it now. It seems like something will probably cancel if I distribute it. So here I distribute, I get cosine of x minus cosine of x sine of x. And then here I get cosine of x minus, was that a plus or a minus? That was a plus, right? So plus cosine of x sine of x. If you see me drop a negative sign or something, you got to tell me. Uh-oh. This might crash, which would be very sad. Nope, maybe it's not going to crash. That's great. So what we'll do now is we'll just cancel out the cosine sine, and we'll have 2 cosine of x. This will cancel, right? We'll cancel out the cosine sine, and we'll have 2 of those cosine of x on the top over cosine squared of x. And most likely the back of the book is not going to like that. They're going to want you to cancel out 1 cosine from the top and 1 cosine from the bottom. And you'll have 2 over cosine. And that's a fine answer, but most likely the answer is going to be 2 secant of x, because cosine's reciprocal is secant. Okay? Do you want me to go back over any of those steps? Okay. So my class is saying I don't need to go back over it. So if you're watching the video, hopefully it was a pretty clear explanation. If you look at 39, does this help? Is this enough to clarify 39? Okay, cool. And if you look at, and I don't remember who asked, but if the person that asked for 75, I don't know if this clarifies it because it's a lot, right? 75, you want to talk about it at least? At least like a go through? Okay, cool. So what I see here is that it looks like everything got changed to sine and cosine. You see how they changed everything to sine and cosine? They're all sines and cosines, right? See all those little check marks there? Everything got changed to sine and cosine. That's a strategy that we're especially going to talk about moving forward. We haven't talked about it too much. So what they did was they said, okay, well, I'm going to change this guy to 1 over cosine. I'm going to change this guy to 1 over cosine. I'm going to change this guy to 1 over sine. I'm going to change this guy to sine over cosine. So that's what they did. Right away, they changed everything to sines and cosines. I don't know if this is the most efficient way to do it, but this is what they're doing. So then they're finding a common denominator on the top and on the bottom. So let's just focus on the bottom for a second. I'm going to highlight it for you. We want to make this into a common denominator. Well, the way that we do that is we multiply by cosine over cosine here and sine over sine here, leaving us with, on the bottom, just the bottom now, just the bottom, is sine of x over sine of x, sine of x cosine of x, and then we're going to add that cosine of x as well. So basically, this highlighted part, this whole thing right here, becomes this. All right? The highlighting for me doesn't show up at all when I'm at an angle. I don't know how it is for you guys, but it's not so bad from back here. So once you have that part, you just have the bottom. You've done nothing but found the bottom. Now I made it into a common denominator. I added the tops, sine plus cosine. The top, I almost wonder if they're just going to distribute that and see if it comes out any better. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to distribute that. Let's go purple. We haven't done that yet. We'll distribute this, and we'll get 1 over cosine of x plus sine of x over cosine of x. This is a pretty tough problem. I will give you that. Okay, that looks good. Is this squared, though? Yeah, I think so. So how about a common denominator on the top? Multiply by cosine over cosine. So just a lot of common denominators, a lot of things that you sort of learned in Algebra 1 honors. It's going to come out kind of good now in a second. Just bear with me. It's going to come out good. So we're doing the same thing, common denominator. So now we have the whole top, which is purple. That's cosine of x plus sine of x, right? All over cosine squared of x. That's all over. See how I make this line giant? I make it bigger? Just to show that that's the big fraction, you know? All of that's over sine of x plus cosine of x all over sine of x cosine of x. And then, is that okay so far? Still? Now I'm going to do the flip and multiply thing, right? The flip and multiply thing. So dividing fractions, easy as pie. Flip the right and multiply. The right is the bottom one. So you're going to flip the bottom one. And the good news is that the next section, we don't really do anything but this same stuff over again and just verify. So we're not really learning anything new. We're just verifying. We're going to flip this, which is going to be sine of x cosine of x underneath sine of x plus cosine of x. Cancel, cancel. Those are the same. And you could probably cancel this cosine, but let me show you without skipping a step. And that will cancel. And we just have sine of x over cosine of x, which is simply tangent of x. So basically the next section, they're going to say equals tangent of x, and you're going to have to make sure you get that, right? That's kind of what's happening as we go forward. So let's make sure that that's right. If you remember, that'd be good. But sine over cosine, which is tangent of x. So we got the same thing. Okay? All right, cool. So I'm going to go on. I'm going to stop this video, though. And then we'll talk about the next thing. Okay. Having some trouble with the Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. Yeah, just, smash that like button, subscribe. It really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.